Fire.com, yours truly Diamond K. It is Wednesday, and of course,
Wednesday,
Miss Brown in the
Wednesday.
building. How you doing?
Hey y'all, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. Lot of crazy things going on.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So, how was your week first?
My week was kind of dry. I've been in training. I work for a utility company, so every year we have to do these annual trainings. So it's been like a snooze fest. But I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm taking my daughter, my sister and I are taking our daughters to Orlando to a resort. So
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. I need to get away.
So you're going to a resort. I definitely can't wait to hear about that experience.
With my germophobic ass.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to even yeah, that's why are y'all doing that?
It was already planned. It
Mm-hmm.
was non-refundable,
Oh
and
wow, it is.
yeah, and there's a Walmart right across the street, so we can just go buy everything they have sanitary wise, and if
That's true.
push come to shove, we'll just do spa days in our suite. So
Yeah, okay.
you know what I mean?
So there you have that. So many things. I guess before we get into some of these other topics that I have,
Okay.
since we talked last, Will and Jada got together
Hmm.
and they had a conversation. And of course, we talked about that situation with August Alsina when he came out. What were your thoughts on Will and Jada's? Jada taking herself to the red table.
Well, first I want to say I told you so.
That's why I want to give you the opportunity
You know I
to go.
couldn't wait. You know I could not wait. So I think that there were pros and cons with it. The pros was I appreciate her doing so. I appreciate her honesty and transparency. However, I feel like if Will wasn't there, she would have continued to skate across certain aspects of, their whole situation entanglement. I'm sorry, their whole entanglement. So, I
That's true.
definitely think that it was improv, meaning they had a conversation beforehand about how they wanted the conversation to flow.
I agree.
Um, it was very strategic. They have great PR people. Um, but I think the biggest thing that the public is saying right now is if the tables were turned and it was a young woman who
Yep.
went to Will
Yep.
seeking guidance and seeking healing and seeking, that companionship, and then that led to them having a romantic relationship, he would have been hands down every creep in the book. But because she is a woman and he's a young man, there's that double standard, that double-edged sword. So I definitely think she took advantage of the situation. Do I think she had ill or malicious intent? No. She is a woman. We lead by our feelings and emotions, most of us. So I can see a very young, charismatic, vulnerable young man, them both taking advantage of that opportunity. So I don't know. I don't know.
So
But it
all
was
in all, do you
interesting.
think that it was a success with um, their statements? Did they save the Smith brand?
They definitely saved the Smith brand, and we'll kind of creep in a couple of jokes like I feel like the husband that's forced to stick by your side no matter what. Like, they tried to smooth it over as best they could, but uh I don't know. I expected just a tiny bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Just a tiny bit more.
I agree. Um, so also there over the weekend, I guess it was Sunday. We had this. There were reports of Tory Lanez getting arrested,
Mhm.
and that Meg Thee Stallion was in the car,
Mhm.
and he was arrested because he caught a gun charge.
Yes.
And so that automatically just threw me off. I mean, I know that a lot of entertainers know each other, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But Meg Thee Stallion being in the car with Tori just kind of threw me off. But how did it
Why?
strike you? I don't know. It just did. It just did.
They're friends.
Clearly, clearly.
Throughout the spring and the summer, they were quarantining and house partying and stuff together like that. So I know that a couple of media outlets had reported that maybe he was the offender against her, but
Right.
she just issued a statement maybe about an hour or two ago saying that she was actually shot. So knowing that they're friends, I don't think he shot her, or if he did, it was by mistake. He was probably defending her. I mean, clearly she's 6'1" and he's 5'3", so they're not dating.
Well, first of
They're not
all,
dating, and they wouldn't be beefing. So I think
first
that
of all, he's 5'7" and she is 5'10".
his mugshot said he was 5'3", 120 pounds, soaking wet, with a pair of Timberlands on.
Okay, well,
So
that makes it
no, I
even
don't think
that
they're
makes it
dating.
even funnier. Uh, yeah, there were so many jokes about his height.
He's
That
a little guy. He got little T-Rex arms.
so you alluded to the statement. So she was taken to the hospital from all accounts, and she did make a statement. And I thought that okay, so I know that she has some trouble with the label
Uh
that
huh.
and so there've been a speculations to who shot her and all that kind of thing
Mhm. Were
and
they in
all of
LA?
huh
Were they in LA?
at the time. Oh, let's read the. I want to. Because you've read the statement. Did you read
Yeah,
the
I read
statement?
the statement that she issued, but I don't know where they were.
So does okay? So does the statement? All right. So let's do this. Let's read the statement and then I want to get your thoughts on it. Okay. So the
Okay.
statement says the narrative that is being reported about Sunday morning's events are inaccurate, and I'd like to set the record straight.
Mhm.
On Sunday morning, I suffered gunshot wounds as a result of a crime that was committed against me and
Mm.
done with the intention to physically harm me.
Mm.
I was never arrested. The police officers drove me to the hospital where I underwent surgery to remove the bullets. I'm incredibly grateful to be
Oh.
alive and that I'm expected to make a full recovery, but it was important for me to clarify the details about this traumatic night. I'm currently focused on my recovery so I can return back to my life and back to making music as soon as possible.
Mm.
So when she talks about the narrative, what was she talking about? What narrative do you think was out there? Would
Well, the
that
narrative was originally that he caught a gun charge, that he did something to her,
right,
but clearly she never mentioned him in that statement, so she's not trying to incriminate her friend.
right. Well, he,
Which is smart. But
yeah,
I wanted to know where they were because I'm assuming that they were in LA, and LA has been turning up lately. Like, the whole Pop Smoke situation.
yeah,
Young Miami got shot at when she was pregnant.
right,
It's been crazy. So they don't have any pics as far as beefs with male or female rappers. They just attacking entertainers in general, targeting entertainers in general there. I could see him with his little man syndrome trying to defend his friend, you know. But
there's
she's not gonna.
something could have been wrong with that. That the thing on the wall. Something could have been wrong with that. We don't know.
Mm,
Yeah, but
I
they were
mean,
in
he's
L.A.
never been one to hold the water, so I'm sure when he gets out of jail that we'll find out what the real tea was. but I don't see him harming her. They show each other big love.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's an entertainer. He know his ass will be thrown under the jail if he was to do something like that. Like, she's like America's hood princess sweetheart, you know?
Yes, she's my second favorite rap female.
She
Um,
definitely got balls. She got
yeah,
balls.
she's 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 very good. I like her a lot. So they were at some house party,
Hmm.
which devolved into some kind of violent altercation with her nursing a bloodied foot. So
Well, maybe he shot her by mistake, but she said gunshot wounds.
yeah,
She said with the intent to harm me. So that sounds like she was targeted
yes,
by
yes, and
a group
so
of people.
so there have been a lot of speculations out there about some issues that she's been having with some folks in Houston, which is where she's from.
Hmm.
But police listed her as the victim, and she was treated for wounds to her foot immediately following the arrest. So,
That's unfortunate because
yeah.
mm, 2020 has been crazy enough. And at this point, like, you can't put anything past anybody. I mean, all we're waiting for now is the aliens to show up the way it's been going now. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And if they don't want to catch the corona, I suggest they stay away.
The alien.
But yeah, they.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, so I definitely think that we're definitely gonna follow this situation closely. I really like her as an artist. I hope that she's okay, and I don't want uh, Tory Lanez just to catch some charge just because he was trying to defend her, but. The weapon is the weapon, so concealed weapon in L.A. is not going to be good for him. He's from Canada, so
What I don't understand is though, like, why if you're going to be that guy or girl, why not just go through the couple of hours to get your license? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
especially if you're going to be traveling and feeling that comfortable to go places alone without security, like, why not just go to the extent to protect yourself and your assets at all costs? Like, I don't understand. Like,
Meaning, why not get the proper
yeah, why not go through the
paperwork?
proper
Why not do?
channels
Yeah.
to have a license to carry? What's so difficult about that? Like, that's when we start talking about the N-word type of shit. Like, just do the right thing. It's so much easier to do the right thing to cover yourself, especially if you have that much to lose. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Why don't you think people do that when they clearly can? These celebrities can do it. So why don't you think it happens then?
Um, I think it's about that image again. A little bit of clout, what's gangster and what's not. Like, to me, what's gangster is how, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the first altercation that the baby got into when he actually killed the guy, he had his licensed weapon and he was home.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, to me, that's more commendable than you being a random dummy with a gun, knowing daggone well that you are high profile, and if you get caught with it, you're gonna be charged as a criminal.
Right. It's especially when you have so much to lose, like you said.
Yeah, like, someone answered, they intended to inflict harm upon him, his girlfriend at the time, and his child. He did what he had to do, and he doesn't apologize for it.
Nor should he.
Yeah, like, why not just go through the extra chain? You could probably have someone come to your house in your backyard and certify you. Like, what is the big deal? Like, I don't know. But I guess that's too much, like, right and, too proper of a thing to do. But I'm about to get mine. I'm next.
You gonna be that girl?
Yep.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
My
with that at
dad
all.
raised us in the country on our breaks from school. We would go down to Savannah
Hmm.
on his aunt's cotton and pecan farm, and we would do target practice on the livestock.
Okay.
So what's that mean?
Okay.
And I don't want to harm anybody, but I feel like if someone knows that you carry, they're going to think twice about how they handle you. You know what I mean? Like if it's someone that knows you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Touche. I understand that, and I agree with that. I just think, especially someone who can get licensed should,
Mhm.
and if you have a lot to lose, like a lot of these celebrities that we're speaking of, so much to lose, is no reason to not do it. So why
Mhm.
not just do it? Now, some will say that they may have a charge or something like that, and that will prevent them from doing such.
I mean, okay. But that's why you have money. Get security. Have
Mm-hmm.
armed security.
Mm-hmm. I
I
agree.
mean, if a person wants to get to you, they're going to get to you. I mean, Kim Kardashian does not go anywhere without her security, and somehow she was still able to be robbed at gunpoint with her security right downstairs that didn't even know what was going on. So
Yeah.
you just have to be mindful of how you're moving. And then another thing is that this whole notion of going hard, they're posting their locations and yeah, I'm out here. I mean, it's not hard to find out who's throwing a house party of that caliber where celebrities will come.
True.
So that's like targets. You're targeting. You're allowing yourself to be targeted.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Um, and like you said, we don't know who was the person or the persons responsible, but something tells me that more about this is going to come out, and some people were
Mhm.
making jokes online. I saw Kaya making some jokes online about it, and different people that had supposed to be funny stuff to say about this.
Say her name again. Watch what my face did.
Kaya.
I cannot take her.
Dude, she is very I was
Toxic.
I will say one thing about Kaya. If you have to insult somebody, she's the person that you want doing the insult. Her insults are crazy.
I mean, she is just so ridiculous. It's out of this world. You can't help but to laugh at her because you want to know why she's so angry in life. Like, just do you. I don't know.
Before we get off this incident, I do want to say that four shell casings found near the home where the fight took place, and Tory Lanez is out on $35,000 bond, and he has court on October 13th.
He'll be alright.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So he will be he'll be okay. Uh, also, uh, okay. What are your thoughts on Nick Cannon? Not his current stuff, just in general. Nick Cannon, the artist, the businessman, whatever you know about him. Like when you think about Nick Cannon, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think that he is one of the pioneers of the culture.
Okay.
There's not many people who have done the things and accomplished the things on their own without major backings that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
And his, in his years on this earth. I mean, we can't have it all. It's not many people that are 100% talented at what they do, 100% of a businessman, 100% as an intellectual. Like nobody is that, that hierarchy, with the exception of very few, Jay-Z and things like that. But I feel like he took the tools that he's been blessed with and he's made several different avenues and empires. And if it wasn't his strong set, he wasn't stingy and he wasn't selfish. He put other people on and gave other people opportunities to grow and become the grace that they are today. I feel like he doesn't get a lot of the credit that he is due. Um, did I do a little two step to his music back in the day? Maybe, sure, Um, but who he's developed into, I feel like is is commendable. You know, he probably everybody's made a couple of bad moves in life, but I don't think that what he said was wrong. I think that he offended someone who was in a position to take from him what they took from him, but stand for something or fall for anything. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't aggressive in his explanation of how he felt. He was given the example of how a lot of the white men who are in control positions, how they were able to obtain that control. It wasn't, they didn't knock on their door and ask for it nicely. They took the shit. You know what I mean? He was explaining that type of behavior in an animalistic way because that is what we're always referred to from that other race. We're
Mm-hmm.
always referred to and equalized to being animals and not saw it as humans. But he was explaining the characteristics of the man. He wasn't saying that, oh, white people are barbaric and, you know, they're this, and he wasn't sensationalizing racism at all. He
Mm-hmm.
just called it exactly what the F it is that we all know, but maybe, you know, the powers that be just didn't want to hear that coming from him.
Right. Right. And of course, people that don't know, we're talking about Nick Cannon and some what people view as controversial comments. I definitely think that the way that he said it um, is what people are pointing at, not actually what he was saying, what he was trying to say. And so with this statement, and so he said he made some statements on his podcast. So he has a podcast. He also, which he uploads to YouTube, and I guess he felt like he can be able to say whatever he wants to say, but he's lost other jobs because, like during his
He
stand
took
up
a
when he was
stand.
saying stuff,
But wouldn't we view that as a black community as him being a sucker if he didn't take a stand to certain issues because of
Yes,
the positions that he's in?
yes, yes,
You know what I mean? So it was inevitable. And sometimes we have to lose everything to gain it all back. So I feel like when he makes his comeback or whenever he gets, you know, the ownership of Wildin' Out, whatever, here's a contradiction in that as well. You know, Wildin' Out, even though it is comedic and is fun, is lighthearted at times, but even within the jokes, there have been the jokes are purposely racially focused at times.
true, agreed.
So how can Viacom be so offended by his stance that he's taken, but allow certain things to be aired during the show?
Yeah,
It's okay to be aired during the show because it's making you money.
and it depends on who you're making fun of.
Yeah. So as long as you know either black people or white people are being the butt of the jokes, they're all good with profiting off of that. But when he starts addressing the big wigs, you know, in the industry and in life, it's a separate issue. I feel like behind the scenes he probably pissed somebody else off that had a tad bit more pull than him. So what they
Mm-hmm.
did was rallied up the troops, you know, and try to get him canceled.
Right, right.
But I think that they're shortly going to see that his support system is who he needed all along, which is our community.
Yeah, yeah. And so during his podcast, he was discussing anti Semitic theories.
Hmm.
And, I just, what I do have a problem with is you can discuss something, you can even criticize something, and I don't think that that means that you're anti that thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I just don't understand. For some reason, if you speak about Jewish people or you speak about the gay and lesbian community, a lot of times people are quick to say that you anti-Semitic or you are homophobic
Prejudice.
just on the discussion of it.
Hmm.
And I think that you should be able to discuss something. There's a big line between discussion and then, making negative statements about something and condemning it versus discussing it and disagreeing with something from within that community.
I mean, you can't please I totally agree with
Right.
you. And you can't please everybody. It's like if a straight heterosexual male wants to embark or participate in a conversation about the LGBTQ plus community,
Mm-hmm.
the only way that he's allowed to do so is if he's sitting right next to somebody who is in the life, and he can't be coming from an opinionated point of view. He has to be coming from um a space of wanting to learn or want clarity in order for it to be okay and to be had. I think that is I don't think that that's necessarily fair, because we all have to live together and we all have to live amongst each other. As long as you're not spitting out racially directed or prejudice directed statements towards that community, you know, and totally purposely trying to offend them, then why can't the discussion be had? Um, and what happened to our amendment? Like, don't we have freedom of speech? I don't know. I mean,
Well, see, here's the thing about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a very tricky thing.
hmm,
You can say what you want to say. My father taught me this lesson early on in my life. You can say what you want to say, you can do what you want to do, but you just have to be ready to deal with the consequences. And
that's
so
true.
I remember, going
Maybe he was
out
ready.
and having my curfew, and I'm saying, "Oh, Dad, do I have to be in the house by 10 o'clock?" And he said, "You don't have to. You just got to be ready to deal with the consequences of if you are not here at 10 o'clock, right?"
Hmm.
So you're free. You got free will, and you do have freedom of speech. However, freedom of speech does not mean that you have a free reign to say whatever you want and people just sit there and take it. They are going to try to hurt you in another way if they don't like what you say.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he just got to the point where he's just tired and he's fed up with the conditions of what's going on right now. I mean,
So
see, the first time I was ever called the N word,
mhm.
I believe I had just turned 30, right? I come from
What?
a family, yes. I mean,
Okay.
directly, like, to my face, like, intentionally, like, to my
Okay.
face. I was 30. And as much as I wanted to, like, so my family is all mixed up. Like, it's all different kind of races, and my mom doesn't even look like she's my mom. She's so fair skinned or whatever. But my father's side Native American, and they they regenerated with Native Americans. Like everybody is different in my family. Everybody looks different, talks different walks of life, but we're all in our immediate family, right?
Mhm.
So when this lady called me the N-word, it would have only been fair for me to exchange something back negative to her verbally, right? But I just couldn't, because I know that I have family members and people that I love, and it's a part of my DNA, my actual DNA, the Caucasian side or whatever. I just couldn't spew that back to her. I had much rather smack her in the face than to exchange like a verbal discrepancy with. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, even though I was probably within my rights to do so, right?
Right. Definitely.
I just was trying to take her head off. And then in the work field, in the position that I'm doing right now, oh, it's every other caller, you know? Oh, you liberal, racist, black, democratic, like, on. You freaking N-word, get me on the line with somebody right now. Like, it's this, whew, it used to bother me really, really bad. But now, I can I'll laugh. Because at the end
You
of the
can keep it
day,
moving.
you're leaving this conversation not getting what you wanted, what you intended to do, which was to destroy me. I'm just not going to give you that power. I'm going to laugh and hang up. Have a blessed day. Please. You're
Wow.
in my prayers. Have a great one. I can smile because I know where I'm going. You know, where you going is questionable. I know where I'm going. I just think that people are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it's just all depends on what your tolerance level is and where you are in that growth. You know, with this racial war that's going on right now, it's most definitely a racial war going on.
Yeah, I mean, war is a very complex thing, and I think there are a lot of different ways to wage a war. Um, so uh, looking more
Use his platform.
specifically um, at what Nick said, and he's demanding an apology from Viacom.
I think
Uh,
he should get one.
I don't think it's going to happen though, but he's definitely within his realm to demand it. Okay, so in the clip, he had a former member from Public Enemy named Professor Griff on the show, and they discussed a lot of different things. But they was really sparked the controversy was the violence at the hands of white people. So violence at the hands of white people,
Mhm.
and a theory that is pushed by the Nation of Islam about and other people about who are the true Hebrews. So you say the black people are the true Hebrews, and that was kind of like you can't say that I'm being anti-Semitic. I mean, we are the true people of God. Is what they were essentially saying, and
Mhm.
that. Uh, the Semitic people and the language are not connected to white people at all, and it's impossible for a black person to be anti-Semitic. And so that was something. That's not something that you haven't heard before, you know.
Mhm.
But so then they want the apology, right? Whenever somebody says some strong statements or actions, and it goes against things, I always hate when a person comes with the apology, but the apology is real passive. Like if somebody comes with a whole lot of energy and say something, when the
Mhm.
apology comes, it's always like real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Like
real the
keep that same
opposite.
energy. Keep that
Right,
same
right.
energy.
Keep the same energy. So Cannon said that he does not condone hate speech or spread hateful rhetoric, and he wanted to clarify some things. And he said that the black and the Jewish communities have both faced enormous amounts of hate and oppression, persecution, and prejudice for thousands of years, which is true. Um, And so, but what's crazy is that so he's been fired from this. Now, what does that mean? That means that that Masked Singer show, he's not having that gig. Also, the show that he started, the Wild and Out show, uh, is owned by Viacom.
Uh-huh.
And so he's going to have some issues there. Diddy put out today. Diddy was offering for him to come over to Revolt, and said that it's a black owned network, and you come on over here and do your thing over here.
Yes,
So
I saw that. I thought that was commendable.
yeah, I did too. Now, of course, you got naysayers about that too. They were saying give Mace back his masters or some other craziness that they were saying. Um, but I think that a lot of people have to understand that if you and I own a network, right?
Mhm.
We're not gonna have anybody on there just talking free and just saying crazy stuff that we find offensive to ourselves as the owners. You know what I mean? And we have if you want to say whatever you want to say, you have to be on your own platform. And
How
you
did
can't just
he
huh?
get How did he? I don't want. I was a little shocked by that. Like, how was he swindled out of the ownership for Wildin' Out? The businessman that we know him to be. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah. Um
That was shocking to hear because yeah.
they probably threw some money at him. I mean that's usually how it happens.
So he
Yeah.
sold out. So now he want it back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. I don't think he's going to get Wild 'N Out back. What they do with any franchise, if you look at any franchise, before it gets taken over by the man, it becomes watered down, and then it just gets whacked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to run it into the ground, and it's just going to be done after that. And so he could just start something else. And but the lesson should
I think
be,
it would be extremely distasteful. It would be extremely distasteful if they were to try to have that without him.
oh, they're going to do it. They're definitely going to do it. You don't
They
think they
shouldn't
will?
be that pressed.
Well, they just supposed
If
to just
they,
give
I
it to him?
mean, to prove a point, it depends on the legal battle because that's about to happen now, right? Like for the
Yeah,
ownership,
yeah, yeah,
that's been announced. It's going to depend on the legal battle.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's
if they
it's going
win and
to.
they do it, who would participate? It's going to be an all white cast. I don't think anybody black should participate in that.
You
Like,
think you think that the black cast members should throw down their job for Nick Cannon?
yep.
It would be nice to see, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, his whole crew today pretty much was posting all day saying that they stand with him.
Good. Well, that's good. That's good.
They're
I
like, damn, we got fired on our day off. Like Smokey.
hope. Yeah. So that's an interesting situation. Ultimately, if you want to say what you want to say, we for far too long we didn't have a seat at the table.
Hmm.
Then we started having seats at the table, and then there was this period of time where they were saying there weren't enough positive black images on the screens, right?
Right?
And they were demanding that. My issue has always been, you at a certain point we can't we can't go to other nationalities and demand that they portray us in a certain light. We have to have our own outlets and portray us in the light that we want to be portrayed in.
Um,
I don't understand why we're going to all of these other outlets from other nationalities and asking them to portray us this way. We just don't support them, create our own and take our viewers and our supporters to a better outlet and not support those outlets.
that's true. I mean, I guess that's maybe the reason why Holly Berry she just exited from a role that she was casted to play as a transsexual woman.
Right.
And so the LGBTQ community rallied up and felt like that role should have been given to somebody really actually living the life. Um, give them that opportunity because that opportunity does not come very often. And she digressed. She decided to back out of that position. But
I don't agree with that.
man, I don't think that I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, do we know what happened behind the scenes? Like, did they do a casting
Well,
with
you know they
all
did a casting.
genders?
You know they did a casting, and the thing is that with the hiring of or her being considered for that role, it also plays into the point of this is Halle Berry. He's going to bring a certain amount of attention
Right.
to his role,
That's how I was thinking about it. You know,
and
but
so yeah, and so she as an actress, that's what actors do. They act. You know what I mean?
but
It's just like
men have been doing it for forever. Holiday Heart, Big Mama's House,
yeah,
Medea, like
yeah, yeah,
all the known um veteran comedians, they've all done it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all role play, whether it's a serious film or a comedic film or an action-packed film. Like they've all done it at some point. Like I felt like that was a little bit narrow-minded from the
yeah,
community. No disrespect, don't cancel me. This is just my personal opinion.
yeah.
I think that was a bit narrow-minded of them. You know.
You
It's
know,
okay
I
for her
mean,
to play a crackhead and losing Isaiah. It's okay for her to play homeless, broke down mother and what was that movie, Green Mile. Like, it's
the
okay for her to do those
the
things, but she can't flex her talent and play a transsexual woman. I don't understand.
well, the crackhead community was not vocal about her portrayal in that role. Uh, but I think that the other
Ah!
thing, I understand both perspectives, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's tricky. So I feel as though if I'm making a film, I should be able to cast who I want to cast, right? Now, on the flip side of that, for this specific thing, and this is a niche role, right? The main people who are going to support this is that community, and if they're not happy with the casting, they may not go watch the movie. You know what I mean? And so I
Right.
think that that has to be taken in consideration as well. It's just like they were talking about having some white person portray Michael Jackson in a film, and our community would have been outraged by that. And a lot of us seeing that, we
They
would have
did
canceled
the
that.
same thing with Harriet.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
actress who played Harriet, she's from England. The guy who plays Snowfall, he's from England. Like,
Right, right.
I feel like there are certain reaches within our community that we need to work on as a whole, as a people. And I get it, you know. We want it all. We want the world. We want everything that everybody else says. I understand, but come on, like some things I feel like is a little OD, it's a little bit of a reach
So some things you
when
don't think is
we
worth the fight.
make demands.
Yeah, some things are worth the fight, and some things are not.
Yeah, it's like pick your battles. Like, we got bigger fish to fry. Like, let's not worry about what roles are being played, but let's worry about job equality, amongst the community. Let's worry about healthcare for all in our community. Like, there are bigger things that we can focus our energy on instead of boycotting, taking the time to taking your time to take off of work or whatever you're doing in your walk of life to go and boycott a movie. Like, did you show up for anything else? That's for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me shut up because I'm scared I'm gonna get canceled.
You ain't gonna get canceled. You didn't say nothing negative. It's just like, you the big sister that's dropping knowledge on.
Yeah, I just feel like we gotta pick our battles sometime, and that's with anything in life. It doesn't always have to be black and white.
Right,
That's just with anything. Like,
right,
maybe that could have been one of those sacrificial moments where, okay, because of her name and because of her clout, because of her history and because of her accomplishments, that movie could have, yes, opened up opportunities for that community to have other opportunities. It could have been a web effect.
right. Yeah, and I think that if they do cast a member of the community, it's definitely not gonna be somebody as high profile as Holly Berry.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was Laverne Cox, and I love Laverne Cox, I feel like she is extremely talented. She's a beauty to look at, and she is a staple in the community, specifically for transgender women. Um, but she does not, for a mainstream. Um, I don't know how you rate movies or whatever, but like, a popular film, her, if you compare her to a Holly Berry, if the purpose is to gain clout for that movie, it would be Holly Berry.
Right, right.
Laverne Cox isn't there yet in her resume. That's just a period and a point blank. It's not shade at all.
Agreed, agreed. And that's just what it is. Uh, last thing I wanted to tackle. We talked about this, and this has been constantly evolving. So Prince George's County, people that don't know, is in Maryland. PG County has announced that they are going to conduct all online classes in the fall,
Mm,
and they're not going to be doing in-person classes at least until January.
good.
So this PG County is saying that their classes will all be online from August 31st to January 29th. And students will get a full school day, and a robust delivery of instruction 5 days a week. The teachers can choose whether they want to be in the classroom when they're doing their teaching, or whether they want to be remote from home, but students will not be in the classrooms.
Good. I applaud that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have the money to do it.
They
My
do.
concern
They
is the
do.
poor city kids who don't have access to technology and the internet and Wi-Fi and things like that.
Right.
I did the survey the other night for myself and for my daughter. They had two separate. They had one for students and they had one for the parents, and which pretty much was identical, with the exception of maybe one or two questions. But they even asked. Listen to how stupid this is. They even asked, what grade amongst your peers do you think is more important as far as the safety and the concern is concerned? So in layman's terms, they want to know, do you feel like because you're in high school that you're more valuable in middle school or elementary school? What grade section do you think is more vulnerable or susceptible to the COVID? And what other grades should be in the classroom setting?
Interesting.
Like what?
How did you answer that question?
Yes,
How did you answer that question?
all of the above.
Mm-hmm. No
All of
grade
the above. And
no
I wrote
grade.
in the comments.
Yeah, no grade above the other.
All of the above. All of the children are vulnerable. Doesn't matter. First of all, children lack prestige hygiene skills. Like, children are learning. Even in high school, they haven't mastered how to be hygienic to the utmost, or how to be safe and things
Of
like that. We
course.
can teach them all day long, but it comes with practice.
Yeah, that too, and then kids are just naturally
Dirty.
behave in a way that's not socially distant.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no way. Like, if I'm sending my kindergartner to school and she has to social distance, when that is the time in a child's development where she's supposed to be learning those social skills,
Right.
and I'm sending her to a place where she can't practice those social skills, even in her learning, that's not going to benefit her.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
That's not going to benefit her at all.
Absolutely.
That's going to be detrimental. Like, I don't want to send her to school to get rid of my child. So, I mean, I understand why some parents would. They just don't have the resources, and I get it. But let's address the elephant in the room. You have a lot of trifling parents that will send a child to school sick with the chicken pox, with the flu, with other things, because they cannot afford childcare, or they don't have the resources for childcare, or they have a very demanding job.
Which is why we have, why illness will spread through school so much.
So much quicker than adults.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, that's stupid. They need to go into that budget, and the same way PG County did, went into their budget. If they don't have the budget, they need to hit up Trump to extend the budget, so that all of our kids none of them will be left behind, and all of them have access to the proper channels and the the stuff that they need, so that they can study from home.
Right. Right. And you were talking about this, and so PG County is also going to continue to help families, including with meals at this time. And next week, they're going to display how they're going to support English language learners, students with special needs, and students that come from a lower income family. And I hope that all of the jurisdictions throughout the country do this.
They even asked on the kids survey, would you prefer coming to school 1 day a week and 4 days at home, 4 days in school, 1 day at home? Like, what's the point? What's the point of even breaking it down in that way? They can step outside their household for 30 minutes and contract the virus if they're not being safe.
Absolutely,
Or
absolutely,
if
and
the
it's
facility, if the
absolutely,
school isn't clean. It doesn't matter if it's 1 day or 3 days or 2 days or five. It doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
We
I
have not
just
tackled this. We don't know enough about the virus.
right.
They're saying that children are their immune system are stronger than most adults. We don't have enough time to have studied to know
They
for
don't
that
know that
to
to
be
be the
fact.
case. You're right. You're
Yes,
right.
we
Yeah,
don't know that.
yeah, yeah. And so until we know, we don't need to take any type of gambles with our young people and our kids.
Hmm. I can see this. I can see this going bad because we all know, especially here in Baltimore, you know, the majority of the population here lives on a poverty level. A lot of people are just barely scratching the surface of being in the middle class.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're going to try to save face by sending these kids back to school too soon, which again is attacking our community in such a negative way.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to we definitely got to do something about that.
Yeah, like
Um.
that's not cool. A lot of people
Absolutely.
don't even have basic health care. Even the free health care isn't enough to get a prescription or medication or some or to be able to afford medical bills. Like God forbid if they do contract it, even the free healthcare system, like, it's nothing. People
Agreed.
with money are having issues and struggling with being able to afford this stuff.
Because
I don't know.
that's
I
what
just think it's
happens.
sad.
That's what happens in when you have the economic challenges that we're having right
Mhm. Yeah, that'll be a place that I'll go stand outside in the summer and boycott.
now. Definitely, definitely. Of course, every Wednesday, Miss Brown is in the building or in the car, depending on like what's going on.
In the car. I ain't see. I told you it wasn't gonna be on time. I was like, I can either go eat, start doing my hair, start packing. I was like, I'm hungry. I can feel my stomach touching my back. I gotta eat.
Oh goodness. I want you to be safe in your travels. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. How can people stay in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram _Lady Tara. I'm on that's my Twitter as well. That's my TikTok as well. And on Facebook, you get my government, which is Tara Brown. So y'all can hit me up. Follow me, follow me, follow me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, I am at the Diamond K Show at Radio on Fire on all social media. Thank you so much. As I said, be safe.
I am. I'm gonna send you a picture in my quarantine suit when I get to the airport.
Okay, yes, do
I'm
that.
gonna be top to bottom.
All right, I'll talk to you next week.
All right, y'all. Be blessed.